And 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Krikorian moves. Ms. Martinez seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Okay, Mr. Price moves and Mr. Buscaino seconds. Next.
Mr. President, item 1 is an item notice for public hearing. However, there has been a request to refer this matter back to the Planning and Land Use Management Committee inasmuch as an extension of the time limit has been agreed to by all parties.
Okay, so without objection, so ordered. Continue.
Items 2 through 14 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Members, items 2 through 14. I see no specials. Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Continue.
And Mr. President, there's been a request to send items 4 and 14 forthwith.
So ordered.
Items 15 through 20 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are now before this body. You have cards on these items?
Yes, sir. Cards on all items.
Then let us move on.
Very good, sir. That brings us to item 21. It's an item scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold it on the desk?
I believe so. I'm looking at Mr. Krikorian, but I believe we're going to hold this on the desk.
That actually came through housing. It was not referred to budget and finance.
Okay, so then Mr. Cedillo, I believe we're holding this item on the desk. All right, continue.
Mr. President, that takes council to presentations, item called special or public comment for items not on council's agenda.
Okay, I thought I saw her earlier. I don't see her now. Miss McAllister, come on forward. I'm going to take a couple of the multiple public comments, and I'm going to start off with you. Items 17 and 18, and then your general public comment. Mr. Previn, you're on deck.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Item number 17, that's for Huzar, streetscape plan, public improvement. We need receipts. I don't think we should be giving any money for plan and land improvements or any of that until we see where the money is going and what's been sent back. I went to the controller's office and I asked him, I said, when you allocate money, do you get receipts and proof that they use that money the way they were supposed to? And you know what they told me? I said, no, we just go by what they say. That's one of the biggest scams. We never do that in business, in private industry. We should not be doing it with the city. That money should be accounted for. I see a lot of money going in different people's pockets, and I don't like that. Item number 18, motion for Wesson and Price, relative to funding for various services to complete construction of fencing at Leimert Park. Well, I was at Leimert Park this weekend, and Labor Day had a good time, Mr. President. That's Mr. President's area.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we had a good time, a lot of jazz and blues. But, Mr. President, you know, I'm a math teacher, so I'm looking around for that 30-something thousand you asked for that event. It was something like that. I saw it. It was in the agenda. 30,000, 25,000. I didn't see it. I saw maybe 5,000. So I want to know where the rest of it's going. See, it's got to go back in the chest. You know, you can't do it like that. Now, when I went to Price's, he had it was a blowout. He had a very good one. I saw his 30,000, whatever he got. He did use it. See, but I'm looking at yours and I didn't see it. Okay. You had 4 potty, where we go use the bathroom with no soap, and some singers who complain they don't get much money, and some chairs. Now, where the 30? You know, that's how I see it. I'm counting as I'm walking around. So spend the money, Mr. President, where it's supposed to go, okay? All right, now.
Let's give her 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Now, remember, I'm still working on this accountability for the city attorney's office. I went to the bar exam. First of all, I got a request in. I want a list of all the 525 attorneys that the city claimed they have. And I went through the Bar Association, and I found everybody who was not a lawyer. I gave you all a copy. We've got about 20 million or more of people who are not lawyers that the city's got on the payroll, and I think these are ghost employees. They don't even exist. One you just hired for $106,000, and you got one here for $259,000. You paying that person is not even working with the city. We got another one, $259,000. I went to the bar exam. The bar, they've never heard of these people. So I'm asking for an investigation. I've got some stuff going on outside. We need this investigated because the city attorney's budget is $124 million a year, and I say half of it is being scammed into their pockets. But whoever's getting this money, tell them they're going to be short very soon because they're not going to get the money this time. And don't cut off my mic when I'm talking.
Thank you. Your mic stayed on, Ms.
No, it wasn't. He
McAllister.
turned it off.
Ms. McAllister, I was watching the clock. Mr. Previn, before Mr. Previn, let's move 8 forthwith. Mr. Previn, don't go away. Now, Mr. Previn, I have you 17, 18, 16, 17, 20, 21, and general. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from Studio City. Speaking on behalf of myself today, sir, though I am a member of the Neighborhood Council, and I saw that item number 19 in CD 13, you got the Silver Lake Texaco service station, a little bit of a hot button issue there. People are wondering, should we be preserving, a gas station, or should we be leaning in the direction of affordable housing or something else? And so that's something for them to work out in Mr. O'Farrell's district. Mr. O'Farrell today, by the way, did a great job of
Let's
running
move
the
to
public
18.
safety. Yeah, the public safety meeting today because Englander's out with something, and we hope he feels better. But I
Okay,
want to
Mr.
just
Previn.
address Weezar, who's got an item today right here that says he'd like to do some streetscaping, and everybody wants to do streetscaping as well. But the other thing that they're doing, sir, up in public safety is they're ramming through what we describe as a vacation of city properties. It's okay, sir. It's on here today. And what they do is they're hearings, public hearings, sir. What's that?
No, I got him. Go ahead,
Yes,
Mr. Previn.
CD 14. Now, what they're doing up there is they're dragging people in for that meeting, and they're pleading their case. So people are hearing what they're talking about. They want to get a little piece of property wedged between. And in this case, it's quite clear that Mr. Weezar, who's doing an outstanding job, and there's the representative who made a sort of tepid little speech this morning, he's trying to get them to get with the program. Now, could somebody clarify what get with the program means? Are they looking for some kind of an office holder contribution or some kind of a...
Now let's get on the item.
Well,
Mr.
sir,
Previn.
we're concerned that people are getting right on the item.
Mr. Previn, let's get on
Okay,
the
okay.
item.
So Mr. Rue is the reform meister here, and we've got several neighborhood council reform items on the agenda today. Thank you for looking at that. The one that you keep
Mr.
overlooking...
Previn,
No,
you got
do.
17, 18, 19,
Am I missing something, sir?
and 21. I think you are moving off
Loyola
topic, but
Marymount?
Go ahead.
Is Loyola Marymount not on today?
You were speaking about items for which hearing had already
Okay,
been held in committee.
guys, you're making it very hard because you keep interrupting me, but I'm happy to make the case, which is that if we could just have a short moratorium on reform, kind of a lifting of, if we could lift the moratorium on reform so that we can amend our bylaws appropriately, and then in our neighborhood council environment, and there's others too, sir, admit it.
Again, I don't think these are
These
any
are on the
of the
agenda,
items
sir.
for which
Well-
are open to public
Mr.
comment.
Previn, the
All right,
public,
then let's-
just stay on the
I'm
items
trying,
that
sir,
I...
that you gotta
no, Mr. Previn, 16, I gave you the items. Come on now.
Broadway streetscape, I mean, I'm looking at, these are the items that I've reviewed and I've discussed with you. You're making it very, neighborhoods first, that's again, and then well, let's move on to general public comment.
Let's give him
because
his
you just
general
completely
public
derailed
comment.
me. And I want to say thank you for that because you're doing a great job. So campaign finance, sir, is where individuals in the city are able to contribute to campaigns. Mr. Weezar is always the winner. He gets the most of anybody. And you're arranging with the Ethics Commission to augment the rate at which public money can be put down right next to a contribution. So it can get quite big. And you've got a surplus in your, what they call the matching fund program account. Every year money comes from the general fund, and every year you got to push it out the door. But there's only X number of incumbents who gobble that all up because you've got a threshold that makes it impossible for regular grassroots candidates to get into the matching fund. So what I'm asking you to do, sir, and I know you're going to look at it, is get rid of that threshold completely and let the 500 signatures that all of you had to collect to get on the ballot count as something so you can get at least a stipend to print up a headshot of Fauble or you or whoever, or your candidate yourself. But that's what people need to get advertising out into a camp, because we're going to have all in one pile with the state elections, because we've cycled up, sir, and I know you were a big champion of that. You extended your term, and we're all cycled up.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Okay, Mr. Herman, you got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 in general public comment.
So on motion 20, regarding the hostile environment of public safety, Mr. Englander, Neighborhoods First program is all about my public right-of-way, Mr. Michael Moore. Where is Michael Moore, the chief of police? I'm here to offset public safety for the abandoned vehicles left in my fucking community. Why do we have so disregard for blight and eyesores? We have a new chief of police, makes $700,000 a year, in addition to his $1.something million stipend. Isn't that the drop? And what about item 21? An alliance for Californians for community empowerment? I'm the motherfucker empowerment. Don't get upset because I raised my voice, Mr. City Attorney. I'm assertive. I'm dealing with the Los Angeles City Council, the same people who initiated their plan against me.
Stay on you're off topic.
Then I go into the other one where I can't take it anymore, item 18.
I can't take it anymore. Funding for various services to complete the construction of fencing, to put Lemert Park on the record for redevelopment projects. Well, I'm disabled and I don't fit into your development. Where's my development project to house Herman?
Stay on the subject.
Well, the subject's about item 18. Redevelopment projects that go no fucking where for services, program, and activities simply because of general capital sub-accounts. Lemert Park, fucking niggers, recreation and parks to make corrections. Clarify my point. Clarify it. I don't got AIDS. I'm dealing with item 19. Motion of O'Farrell extending the 60-day time to act on inclusion. What fucking inclusion? Silver Lake Boulevard? Nothing but white niggers out there. White-faced cunts. A lot of them. And I'm dealing with a 60-day good cause and time of action, Mr. Michael Moore, M&M for the record. Fully deliberate my merits of constitutional protection for North Silver Boulevard in Los Angeles, California, 90026, historic culture monument. I'm a monument. I come here every motherfucking week to deliberate a message.
You're off topic. Give him his minute of general public comment.
So the City Hall's official plan, as you all know it, has been to discriminate on open meeting laws, as brought by you by the hostile fuck bitch O'Farrell, because of an outspoken critic like I and Mr. Wayne Spindler for the record. The city's plan to gut and steal HH money under Measure H monies. For yes, often I make critical comments that the agency and local fucking government transcripts show or audio show that I, a critic, plan to intimidate. Fuck you, 42 U.S.C. 1983. I plan to come here to ask for help, Herman. You said it. I have a serious problem. Then fucking help me, Herman. Where's your fucking plan to help the homeless? Where's your fucking plan to deal with the homeless issue, the homeless crisis? Fuck Eric Garcetti. He's done motherfucking shit for the homeless people. I'm advocating for homelessness. Subsequent disputes with this fucking city and your fucking...
Your time is up. Mr. Herman, your time is up. Now, to the mom sitting in the front row. I know that you did not appreciate, nor did your child, what you just heard. You can help us by sending a little note indicating how offended you felt, that you had to take, that you, no, wait a minute. Now you, sergeants, remove him from the chambers. He is disrupting. No, you cannot just stand up. No, just remove him right now. Remove him right now. As I was saying. No, let's remove him and remove him now. Remove him.
And
remove him from, and officers, let us remove him from the building, not just from the chambers. Remove him from the building. And Mr. Spindler, you can go with him. Take Mr. Spindler as well. He was part of the disruption. Mr. Spindler, you're leaving this meeting right now. Sergeants, remove him as well from this chambers. Mr. Spindler, you're not doing yourself any good. Remove him from the chambers and from this building. And remove him with some haste. No, Mr. Spindler, you are removed. Mr. City Attorney, he's continuing to disrupt this meeting.
he is, and he's shouting that he hasn't had a warning. He's had literally hundreds of warnings over the course of the last year. He knows perfectly well what he was doing and that he would be disrupting the meeting.
Mr. Spindler, please leave the facility and the building. Sergeants, remove him from the building. Remove him from the building. Okay, as I was saying, again, we are restricted in what we can or cannot do. You have some people that come here that have personal issues and personal demons, but you can definitely pin a note to us or the council person, again indicating how offended you felt that you had to cover the ears of your child. And if more people would send us correspondence like that, it might prove to be helpful at some point in time. We apologize. No one should be subjected to that, but we support an individual's right to speak, but they're pushing the envelope.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was actually difficult to hear you. Mr. Herman is outside the building, outside the windows, shouting at the top of his lungs. I think it would be useful if the sergeants would inform Mr. Herman that he is disrupting city business and he has to stop right away.
Okay, if we would have one of the sergeants, please do that. And Mr. O'Farrell?
Thank you for giving some reassurance to the child in the audience and her mother. I just want to say for the record that not only might they have felt offended, but they might have felt threatened by the hostility, the overt hostility, and the racist language. It goes beyond feeling offended and being disrespected. It's hostility, and it is absolutely threatening behavior to a minor. And this falls on the heels of each individual, Mr. Spindler and Herman, getting ejected from the Public Safety Committee meeting this morning, and they were off the charts, crazy and offensive to everyone as they walked into the committee hearing, to the point that city staff came to me and they said they felt threatened and afraid. So I think we need to state for the record the impact this is having on not just the city family. You know, we're elected officials, we can take it, we sign up for it, that's not the issue. It's other city staff, not just council staff, but city staff that as part of their job are required to come to these hearings, and that is a hostile work environment by definition. Not just city workers, but other workers in private industry that are required to come to City Hall to testify on various pending projects as part of their workload. So state for the record that not only did we see this in council chambers today, but we saw it this morning in Public Safety Committee.
And it's getting worse and worse every day. It's getting worse. It's getting more frightening, more threatening. So again, let me reiterate, any kind of note, email where people felt threatened, that they had concern for their safety, I would think that would go a long way for this body if people would just take that extra minute and send us something that indicates that. So Mr. Bonin, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a few words on that, Mr. President, because the outbursts are getting worse, but it's becoming abundantly clear to me that there is a pattern in the practice on the part of Mr. Herman and Mr. Spindler to be more outrageous and to be more offensive when children are here. I have seen that happen more frequently lately, and their comments are not meant to influence us or comment to us. They are very clearly, I think, Mr. City Attorney, meant to offend and intimidate members of the audience, particularly children. I recounted a few months ago, I was chairing a Tea Committee meeting where there was a young black child there, and there was an N-bomb explosion, fast and furious in that committee, and the child had to leave the room. I have seen them behave particularly offensively when my child is with me. They have behaved particularly offensively when Mr. Weezar's child was present. They are deliberately targeting children to be more offensive. And I think we need to note that because I think that's a part of a pattern that we can use to finally stop this reprehensible behavior.
And I agree. And I think if we had any mental health experts that were viewing that, they would agree that those types of comments could scar children for a very long time. I'd like to recognize Ms. Martinez.
Mr. President, and thank you, colleagues, for speaking up. I also want to make this mention to the city attorney. These individuals have been seen roaming the 4th floor. And for those of us who have staff there and who work in these offices, it's become very, very alarming to me and my staff and the female staffers that work on the 4th floor that these individuals are lurking and walking around the 4th floor like they own the place. And they walk into offices, they sit there, and they refuse to leave. I think we need to call it upon not only the city attorney, but the people who are in charge of the safety of the people who walk into this building. We need to secure these offices, not only for ourselves, but for any individual who happens to be having meetings in one of our offices. Not only have I witnessed these people walking around, but I think Mr. O'Farrell and Mr. Krikorian can speak to that issue as well. I call upon you to please look into this matter before something happens to someone on the 4th floor or any part of this building.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. And I would point out that outside of this chamber or a committee room, Mr. Herman and Mr. Spindler are not protected by the Brown Act. It's a very different situation, and it can be handled more directly.
We will be figuring out a way to address that for all of us. Ms. Martinez, I think it was last Wednesday that early in the morning I had one staff member, a female member at the office, and she had to deal with Mr. Herman. The first time he had just come into our office, and he was offensive, and he was threatening, and he was filming her and things of that nature. We're going to be figuring out a policy that we can discuss as to how we're going to deal with that. Mr. Rue?
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been on City Council for 3 years now, and I have made it a point not to comment, to ignore, and I value First Amendment rights. But it is coming to a situation where I agree with you, Mr. President, that in the past 3 years, some of the behaviors are becoming increasingly alarming. And not being an actual psychiatrist or a psychologist, having been worked in the mental health arena for a psychiatric hospital for 6 years, and as a mental health deputy for the county, I've been in many situations, and I have to say, I am very concerned of the escalation. And I know, Council President, you mentioned this several times, and this is the first time I'm ever speaking about on this, but it is really getting to a point where I am very concerned that something might trigger this individual and become more escalated. So I just want to also be on the record because it is very concerning. It is getting to a point of where, we all have to be on the record because we are all very concerned. Not just for the people who work in City Hall, but for the public who comes to these meetings, whether it's more than the verbal and emotional assault, I am really concerned about a physical assault.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. And I also, since we are kind of on the record at this point, want to indicate that they have both been in front of the entranceway to the parking lot, or where people exit and they hassle people as they are leaving the building. And I just think this is a good few minutes for us to, on the record in front of whoever's watching us, to highlight some of these things that are not just offensive, but that are dangerous and also frightening. Mr. Krikorian.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues, for speaking up about this. I just want to add a point to Mr. Ruse and Mr. Martinez's, Ms. Martinez's point. You know, one of these individuals had a restraining order issued against him on behalf of his neighbors, because his neighbors were fearful of him. One of these individuals came into City Hall with a box cutter. One of these individuals was arrested and was in possession of assault weapons. So these are not idle concerns that our colleagues have expressed. These are very real concerns, not just about our own safety, about the safety of our employees, but the members of the public who come here to petition their government, to participate in city council meetings, to observe their government in action, should not be subjected to a deprivation of their rights. And when these two individuals come up here and abuse what they perceive to be their rights at the expense of everyone else's rights, there is an imbalance that must be fixed. And I will say this too. This is really not about their rights. One of these individuals has said multiple times from the microphone that if we would just pay him money, taxpayers' money, if we would just give him money, he would go away and never disrupt these meetings again. So this is not about an exercise of rights. This is about threats. This is about extortive activity. This is about coming here, conspiring to disrupt a meeting of the City Council and conspiring to deprive all of these members of the public with their ability to participate in their government, and it must stop.
Thank you. And again, for those of you that are here from the public, if you were bothered or offended or frightened by what you heard, please send us an email, a text, whatever. Let's go on the record and indicate that you felt that your personal space was violated. Okay, with that said, let's move into our... in fact, that concludes the multi-public comment. In fact, it's my understanding, Mr. City Attorney and Mr. Clerk, that all of the public comment is complete. So let us end that. And we will now vote on item 15 through 20. So on items 15 through 20, if you would please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Ms. Rodriguez, I think we've provided you with some calm, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So good morning, colleagues. I invited some of my colleagues to join me this morning, Mr. Cedillo, Councilwoman Martinez, Mr. Price, and I know Mr. Huizar is en route, to introduce and celebrate something that we told you a few months ago we would be bringing, and that was the discussion of what Mexican independence is. Too often it is remarked that and mistaken that the Cinco de Mayo was the commemoration of Mexican independence, but no, that is actually before us on September 16th. It is an annual commemoration, particularly here in the city of Los Angeles, where together we celebrate the contributions of a Latino community, but the history of more than 200 years ago, when Father Hidalgo had the Cry of Dolores, where it was this leadership to help fight for independence for Mexico. And it was the cause of ordinary people that took arms to help fight for the freedom. And I thought it was especially poignant during these very critical times of what we're experiencing in this country, particularly for the Latino community, that we rise together to celebrate this very special annual commemoration and reflect on the individuals that continue to help be trailblazers when it comes to civil rights, when it comes to social justice issues. And I'm very delighted to be joined by many of my colleagues who stand with me today, whose leadership also exemplifies that. But more importantly, our roots are reflective of it. And so at this time, I'd actually like to introduce a quick video to share with you all about El Grito.
El Grito is that reminder that everyone as a community can come together and make change. We must not give up that power.
Latino Heritage Month to me is bigger than just Latinos. It's really about immigrants, an opportunity to acknowledge how this country was built.
When you go to an event, you get to know the culture through food, through music, through the people, and you see people as humans, not just color.
The way I take advantage of my independence is to be able to take up space. Take advantage of the freedoms that generations before me and my family didn't have.
Choosing myself over what society says is what you're supposed to do.
Through singing, through performing, and through connecting with other artists that live here in the city. I am very proud of the rich and deep roots of the Latino community that is embodied in everything that Los Angeles is.
That was good. Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's been an annual tradition here that each of the Latino Council members has been the chairperson for Latino Heritage Month. And this year, as the newest member of the Los Angeles City Council, I'm very proud to have that distinct honor to being the host of El Grito and Latino Heritage Month this year. And I wanted to be joined by my colleagues because at this moment in time, it is incredibly important for us to continue to rise up together in the face of so many struggles that our community continues to experience, because we need to be aligned in fighting for the civil rights of people who have made incredible contributions to this country and continue to contribute to it every single day. And so I'd like to invite right now my sister councilwoman from the 6th District, someone whose roots, we share a lot of similarities in our community history, and certainly our Latino roots, our Mexican roots, and our sense of pride for our community. And so I'd like to invite Councilwoman Nury Martinez for some remarks.
Thank you very much. Orgullo Mexicano, ¿verdad que sí? Okay. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Rodriguez, for leading today's presentation. I am honored to join you and our colleagues to celebrate El Grito. Le quiero dar la bienvenida al Comité Mexicano Cívico Patriótico. Gracias por celebrar con nosotros este día. Gracias por estar aquí. Colleagues, I am a daughter of an immigrant family. I am a daughter of a dishwasher and a factory worker. Because of their sacrifices, I can stand here before you as a councilwoman of our great city. Since we can remember, the Mexican community has contributed to the development of this country, from advancing the local and national economy to reinforcing the foundation of our city. We are even some of the faces around the city council who get to represent Angelinos every single day, representing this great city. And we make every single day something that we are proud of, and we make an impact not only for our communities, but our constituents that we represent. Mexicans not only bring their delicious food and their culture and their tradition, but we also bring the passion and the spirit of work to serve all of our communities. Today we celebrate that passion with El Grito and celebrating the heritage of our communities. This holiday represents a battle of independence for democracy in a country that finally freed itself from a foreign rule. However, today we are also fighting on our own. We have an administration who chooses to constantly attack us, using racist and cruel rhetoric, accusing us of being rapists and criminals, when in fact we are the very backbone of this country. El Grito reminds us that even during hard times, we should always remember that our unity, our strength, and our resilience of our community will get us through it. And in honor, we're honoring individuals who stand behind us and organizations who are at the very forefront of this battle that takes place in our country. They are the forefront, making sure that these issues are being spoken about and that we stand up for our rights in this country. Thank you to these honorees for your commitment and your dedication to our community. And let's go out and celebrate El Grito, celebrate our culture, y que viva México. Que viva.
Thank you, Noreen. I'd like to invite Councilmember Gil Cedillo.
Briefly, just let me say, Monica, we thank you for your leadership. We're very excited. The preparations and the early activities indicate that this is going to be one of the more significant celebrations of the 16th. It is well stated, and it's very obvious that the experience of Mexicans and Mexican Americans in this country today is one in which there is incredible focus on their presence. They have been vilified from the beginning of the Trump administration, actually from the beginning of the Trump campaign. That will unravel soon. That is evident. History will absolve us. It will be determined that we were right and he was wrong. We are at one of those important historic moments. This is so significant for this city, for the state, and for international relations. Recently, we had a book launch in these historic chambers called Power Shift. And that book lays out where we're at this very moment. You see with us today in the leadership of Nuri and Monica that we are also part of the Me Too movement, but it takes on a different and distinct flavor. For us, the Me Too movement is about women who work as janitors or in hotels making beds for other people, taking care of other people's homes or other people's children. It's a movement that is a working class movement. One was that celebrated just recently, and one that we must be continuously vigilant if we are going to have true equity, true justice, and true dignity for all of us that live in this country. I thank you so much, Monica, for your leadership, and we look forward with great excitement. We cannot hardly wait also to see when Canelo Alvarez knocks out GGG coming up on the 15th of September. For all our boxing aficionados.
Well, you're going to be at El Grito.
Of course.
He'll be at El Grito.
On the rerun.
He's got it on TiVo.
And our community is always so proud to have incredible allies, and I'd like to invite Councilman Curran Price to join us.
The tallest Mexican.
The tallest Mexican.
Thank you, Councilmember Rodriguez, and my colleagues, neighbors, and friends. El Grito is an exciting event that reminds us of the history that U.S. and Mexico share, a struggle for freedom and liberty. We're still fighting to ensure that people from all places enjoy the basic human rights and dignity. I'm happy to see that Chirla was included in this year's honorees. Over the past 2 years, they've partnered with my office to provide immigration assistance and have filed hundreds of DACA and citizenship applications, and we look forward to that continued relationship. That work is going to continue. Let's all remember that during this time of celebration that we also must do our part to help all members of our community. So I look forward to the festivities, the music, the great food, the camaraderie, and the rededication to making sure that we are all one community and that we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Curran. And so with that, colleagues, as the daughter of a green card veteran and first-generation American of Mexican descent, I will tell you, it is especially important for me to have identified individuals that we could recognize to celebrate their efforts on the front lines each and every day, fighting for immigrant communities having a voice. I often remark that if this administration was in place 60 years ago, I would not be standing in this council chamber today. Frankly, many of us wouldn't be. And so it is incredibly important during these very difficult times for us to remain resilient and aligned in making sure that we continue to fight for the rights of the people that don't have voices here reflected often in our communities. And so with that, I wanted to acknowledge individuals, and actually what I wanted to also mention was what's unique about El Grito, that it's not just the celebration of independence for Mexico, it is also shared amongst many other Latin American countries that were equally seeking the fight for independence and achieved it. And so El Grito is just that very important reminder that we must continue to work closely with one another and to stay together in the face of adversity, but just never let up. Never let up. And so at this time, I want to thank the El Comité Cívico Patriótico for all of their continued effort to make this annual tradition something that we can celebrate in the city of Los Angeles. It is a rich part of our history in Los Angeles, and I appreciate your continued leadership and making sure that we preserve that incredible history, that we don't lose that in Los Angeles, because our contributions as a community are inextricably linked to Los Angeles. So thank you so much for your continued effort and support. And at this time, I'd like to recognize two individuals whose leadership has not just made local headlines, but have made national headlines, whose example and whose voice are leading the way in helping to build the progress that we need to see on such critical issues, whether it's immigration reform or gun control. And I'd like to introduce Edna Chavez, who is a youth advocate and a college student at Cal State LA, fighting to protect our communities from gun violence. She recently spoke at March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C., and I know is a proud community member from South Los Angeles and associated with Community Coalition, no surprise. But I'd like to recognize one of our most prideful rising stars, and that's Edna Chavez.
Okay, well, hi everybody. Thank you for not only letting us have this, moment as community, but also as a familia. And so I want to thank each and every one of you guys in this room. Thank you for sharing this moment with us. Thank you for sharing this month, this year, and this work with us as a community, as family. And thank you, Ms. Rodriguez, for everything. Harris Dawson, thank you for everything that you have done, not only for South Central, but here, and also representing us and making sure that our voices are still being heard. And each and every one of you that that does the work for the people, because all power to the people, right? And so thank you, and que viva la raza.
Thank you, Edna. And we are also joined today by an attorney and immigrant rights advocate who is currently serving as the Vice President of Advocacy for Forward.us, a national advocacy organization focused on immigration and justice reforms. She has advocated for comprehensive immigration reform as well as for DACA repeal and the DREAM Act in 2017. And I'd like to invite Alida Garcia to join us, who, by the way, family is a proud history from Pacoima in the 7th District and Lakeview Terrace, so we're happy to have with us today Alida Garcia.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Today is actually the annual, or 365 days since Attorney General Sessions repealed DACA and made that announcement. Since then, people behind me and across the country have fought like hell, and a year later, DACA renewals are still intact. That impacts over 200,000 young people in Southern California. So I just wanted to use this time to say, DACA recipients, please renew. Go to CHIRLA Legal Services clinics. Renew, renew, renew. And for the council members to know that my team at Forward US put about 1,200 individuals who were separated by this administration at the border in hotels and on airplanes across the country, and dozens of those families resettled in Los Angeles to pursue their asylum claims. So please continue to fight for them as they integrate into this beautiful city that is powered by immigrants. Thank you.
Thank you, Alita. Because one of the things that is most special about Los Angeles is we are the city where everyone is welcome and everyone belongs. And actually, we've been recently joined by my colleague, the Zacatecano. Come on up. Jose Rizar.
Zacatecas in the house.
Zacatecas in the house.
Let's give Mr. Huizar a round of applause.
Thank you, Council President.
Zacatecas.
Well, thank you very much. And first and foremost, I want to give a huge thank you and congratulations to Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, who has taken El Grito as a time to not only celebrate our heritage and significant time that El Grito is, but also to acknowledge the honorees and people who have been working hard to continue to provide a better life and advocacy for Latinos here in Los Angeles and throughout the country. So thank you so much, Councilwoman, for your hard work. And thank you to my colleagues and everyone. I'm very proud to have been born in Zacatecas, Mexico, very proud to be an immigrant, very proud to say that I once too, undocumented. But it goes to show that even someone like myself who came to this country born in an adobe home could be given opportunities to one day serve as a council member. And to look back and to think about my ancestry, where my grandfather once helped build the city hall. He was a laborer who worked to build the foundation of this building. He used 2 mules. They had a tarp. They would put soil on the tarp and hit the mules, and they bring it up to build the foundation. And it goes to show that the history of Latinos in this country is not recent, although some people would like to make you believe that. Our history with Mexico and Latin America and here in the city of Los Angeles is integrably intertwined. And it is not from one person coming over the border once or going back. It goes back generations, and we continue to have that strong bond. But we are also living in some very interesting times. When our very own president started his campaign questioning the legitimacy of Latinos in this country, we also not only are here to send him a strong message, but to send everyone a strong message that while we are very proud of our heritage and we celebrate it during times like El Grito, we are also equally proud to be Americans. And that's something that this president forgets and many people forget. And so it's great to celebrate these events, to celebrate our heritage, to say we are one, and especially in this great city where we acknowledge everyone matters, and it's great to be here celebrating Mexican Independence Day, the independence of Mexico, not Cinco de Mayo, and to celebrate Latino heritage here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you all at the celebration that Monica has spent a lot of time preparing, and also at the desfile, the largest Mexican independence parade in the country on September 16th in East Los Angeles. They come a little bit into Boa Heights, city of LA proper, but you're always welcome to bring the whole parade into LA if you want to, okay? Thank you very much. Que viva Mexico, que viva Latinoamérica, que viva Los Angeles. Thank you. Que viva El Salvador.
In addition, colleagues, I do have 2 organizations that we wanted to recognize as well for their incredible and continued leadership here in Los Angeles. And we have SALEF, the Salvadoran American Leadership and Education Fund, which has been instrumental in promoting civic participation and representation of Salvadoran and Latino communities in the United States, and has been active in providing free legal counsel to unaccompanied minors at the border through Defend the Children initiative. And also, of course, I'm proud to recognize CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, whose mission is to achieve a just society fully inclusive of immigrants. And to combat the current immigration policies, CHIRLA has created the team called Warriors for Justice, who visit detainees at detention facilities in Los Angeles and Orange counties to provide free and low-cost legal services to those who need it. Chirla continues to be a leader in providing legal services for the most vulnerable in our communities. And again, colleagues, I please ask that you join me in giving these individuals an incredible round of applause for their continued leadership in the face of adversity. And with that, colleagues, I'd like to invite you all. I want to let you all know that the baskets are reflective of what is a sampling of what we have curated by Molcajete Dominguero, which is a marketplace that will be in Grant Park on El Grito, which is Saturday, September 15th from 5 to 10:30. We've got a number of outstanding performances to showcase. The headliner is Los Tucanes de Tijuana. We've got Molcajete Dominguero in the park. We're going to have silent disco. I really wanted to create an environment. Yes, you're going to love it. We wanted to create an environment where families could come together, where we could have an intergenerational celebration to help bring all the families together to enjoy this unique and rich history. And I invite you to be a part of this very special occasion. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. And I'd like to recognize Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and Councilwoman Rodriguez. Thank you so much for bringing us such a great celebration this year. And to all of your colleagues and all of your honorees, thank you so much. I especially appreciate you for focusing on people who fight for justice. Of course, I couldn't be any prouder of Edna Chavez than I am at this moment. My heart's about to bust out of my chest standing here talking and watching her. But I wanted to rise and say how important this celebration is for me, and I think for a lot of the folks I represent. It is the relationship with Mexico that was so instrumental in many slaves leaving the South. Mexico was the place that they could get, the close place that they could get and get their freedom. One of the reasons why we have the history that we do here in Los Angeles is because many Mexicans lived here in California, and it was obviously a part of Mexico, but there was no slavery here. So when Biddy Mason came here, her slaveholder brought her here and her children and her family. She went and found another Mexican person that told the sheriff that she was being held as a slave. It was the sheriff who came and freed her from slavery. She went on to buy and own what we now know as Bunker Hill, all of the West Adams area, built many of the historic African-American churches that we see. And it is because of the relationship that Mexican people have had to freedom, to justice, and to liberation that African-Americans have been able to have a great history here in the city of Los Angeles. So thank all of you.
Well said. A round of applause. Well said, Mr. Harris Dawson.
So with that, colleagues, I would like to present certificates to Chirla. Oh, here we go. Thank you. To Saleh. Carlos, I know. We're going to have to take pictures in the back, guys. Yes. To the Comité Mexicano Cívico Patriótico. Thank you. Alida. I know. There's a lot of us, guys. And of course, Edna. Thank you so much. Thank you, colleagues. We can go take pictures in the back. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, again, congratulations. If I could alert the sergeants, if we could begin to clear the chambers, we're going to go into closed session. So to our guests and visitors that are here, we're going into closed sessions. You have to leave now. When we come back into open session, then you're welcome back. But if we could please clear the council chambers.
gives me that peace of mind when an incident happens close to my home.
Or near my park.
Alert LA County is a free automated system which sends out information about emergency events via telephone, text, and email. Events may include disasters, evacuations, and safety notices. Register at alert.lacounty.gov.
Alert LA County.
Knowing when you need it most.
So, Mr. President, there was no action coming out of Council's closed session that's reportable under the Brown Act.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, what's before this body?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They're posted, they're referred.
The desk is clear.
Announcements. If all would rise for adjourning motions. I'm looking to my left side, Mr. Cedillo, Mr. Blumenfield.
Okay, first an announcement and then a adjourned memory. The announcement is Public Works, since we're running late, we'll start at 1:15 instead of 1 o'clock sharp to give you guys a little bit of time. So Public Works at 1:15. All right.
Okay, let me see if there are any other announcements. Any other announcements to my right? No, go ahead, Mr. Blumenfield, with your adjourning motion.
Okay. Colleagues, I ask that we adjourn in the memory of Nancy Rodriguez. She's a dear friend of one of my staff members. She passed away unexpectedly on July 18th at the age of 33. She was an alumna of Mount St. Mary's University who aspired to pursue a master's degree in human resources. She worked as an office administrator at the Center for Powerful Public Schools just down the street on Bixel, a nonprofit that provides services to local school districts and individual public schools in greater Los Angeles and across California. Nancy stood up for special needs individuals and supported the efforts of those who work to destroy stigmas and discrimination. Children with such needs on a daily basis she fought for. She believed in seeing children's abilities far beyond labels and diagnoses. Nancy saw her purpose as an advocate for quality education with the needed support systems so that all children can thrive, succeed, and learn in a bully-free, non-judgmental, safe, and nurturing environment. To that end, she worked for agencies such as the Children's Bureau, a nonprofit agency that serves the West Adams community with children development training. They also do education resources. She worked for First Five LA, or an organization that was funded by First Five. She provided administrative support for Family, Friends, and Neighbors program, which provides in-home child care providers with child development training to support the licensing process. She also worked for About Face, which was a domestic violence intervention program in Koreatown. She served as the program secretary, working with domestic violence victims and batterers, as well as sexual offenders and their victims. She worked closely with the Los Angeles Probation Departments and the Los Angeles courts, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services. In her short years, she was a warrior for justice, for victims, and for children. Mr. Rodriguez is a high school graduate from Belmont High School, class of 2003. She served on Metro Charter Elementary Schools Advisory Council and has a deep passion for education and community service. She was a member of the Association of Latino Professionals for America and a member of the Society for Human Resources Management. She's survived by her two young sons, Joshua 10, Ricardo 9, and her mother, Emma Mata. She was laid to rest at Park Lawn Cemetery next to her father, Ricardo Rodriguez. May she rest in peace.
I'm still looking to my left. Any other adjourning motions to my left? Seeing none now to my right, none to the right. Members, this meeting is adjourned.